I went to film my next video, a solo honor mode, and I didn't know what build to do. And as I was thinking, I was looking through my comments and I saw someone suggest an 11 Paladin 1 Hexblade. And I decided, you know what? A lot of people have been asking for Hexblade, let's do it. So that's what I end up doing, this run now. So I just want to say a shout out to Ironbar2009. He left a comment and I named my character after him in this playthrough. This was my first attempt at this build and it was a success. I didn't plan it out or anything before I went in, I just went in and this is what happened. So if you want to see a build in the future, let me know below. I even will run some polls and stuff and might gauge your guys' interest to see what you guys actually want to see in terms of builds and even some video ideas I have coming up. The normal ground rules here. In this video I do no money glitches or anything like that. If I ever do any of those kind of glitches, I'll make it very clear. With that all out the way, let's just get straight into it. So for this one we'll be picking the Dark Urge as normal. Dark Urge is the best character for solo, as you can get the solo Orin fight, which is a lot easier and a lot more consistent. For your class here, I decided to go with Half Orc. You don't have to, it's just the one I chose, just for when you get a critical hit you roll an extra dice of damage. That's pretty much the only reason, and if you go down you do have a little bit of a safety net there with its passive, going to 1 HP, giving you a second chance. Now for the starting class you want to actually start Paladin. Paladin gives you heavy armor proficiency. If you don't care about the heavy armor proficiency then you can start Warlock, it doesn't really matter though. And then for your Oath, it also doesn't matter, we'll be most likely going Oathbreaker anyway. For my stats here, I go 16 Charisma as max, 17 Charisma, sorry, 16 Constitution, and I kind of play around here, but I end up dumping my Strength, I believe, as you can obviously always inflate with a Hill Giant Strength Potion. As long as your Constitution's high, Charisma's high, on a Paladin Warlock kind of build, it doesn't really matter what the rest of your stats are. I just went for some Dex for higher initiative and I just chose Wisdom, and then I just had made sure I had Persuasion for my skill, and Athletics is also really good as well. I then named my character after the person who left the comment on one of my previous videos, so shout out to Ironbar2009. Now as always you start on the Nautiloid. I'm going to be sticking to what the commenter commented, which was 1 Warlock Hexblade, 11 Paladin. So although I think there is a more optimal route for a Hex Deck Paladin kind of build, this is what I'm going to show you and how I work my way around it. We meet us, and of course as my runs tend to typically go, we don't pass the dice check. We actually nat 1. No biggie, it just means we might not get a little bit of extra XP here being by ourselves. Fine. Next we meet the best character in the game, Lae'zel.
Abomination. This is your end.
Unfortunately for Lae'zel, it's actually her end. We finished the next fight pretty easily, although taking a while. We loot absolutely everything, as we're not doing any money glitches in this run, even though we got the best tool for it. Always check these Mind Flayer bodies, as they could have a speed potion. I kill these cultists for 10 XP, and make my way to the main fight of the Nautiloid. Now obviously we're not going to be doing any fighting here, we're just going to be making our way through. So if you dash, go into Turmost and dash again, you get a lot more movement speed than you normally would just entering the fight, as a dash counts as a 1 turn action. Meaning when you go into the fight, the action is still going to be going, as there's no turn that has happened. Then we're just going to run all the way straight through as far as we can to the Nautiloid transponder. Although we're surrounded here, we have enough HP and a high enough AC that I don't really mind running through. We have 5 potions if we do need to heal up anyway. We use our dash and we run to the end of the transponder and get off the Nautiloid.
The Helm's alien transponder. You made it in time.
Once we're off the Nautiloid, we have a few things that we need to get done. First of all, I'm going to pick up a fish from the beach to feed to a bear in the Emerald Grove. Then we're going to head up here to avoid all the intellect devourers. As we are level 1 still, we don't really stand a chance. Then I make my way to Gale here. Gale got off slightly in the last video as I needed him to actually complete the run. This one, he's not so lucky unfortunately. After saving that man, we get told that we've broken our oath. Don't know, I thought we'd been a good person. But anyway, he tells us to come meet him to talk about his oath. Before that, I kill the squid real quick, get some XP and check his body, and we do find a speed potion. It's great. We check this one while we're at it, but we aren't too lucky on this one. Next step is to check the chest down here, as if we pass the nature check we can get 2 potions of speed, but we do not hit it. Next I come to the grove, and if you're an avid viewer of this channel you already know what's about to happen. But first I suppose we should go talk to the Oathbreaker. We go meet him and he yaps on about why did we break our oath, blah 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 blah. We don't really care. We agreed to become an Oathbreaker though, because they're pretty overpowered. And I can't keep an oath to save my life, let's be honest. I kill every enemy I look at. Every person I look at.
Born of a vile source. These powers can be used for good or ill.
Definitely ill. After this I come get my goodies from my chest, including the Mask of the Shapeshifter and a strength potion and a potion of flying. You don't need these, but I just can't be bothered to do the fight, nor respec to get disguise self. We're going to use the potion of flying to fly up the top here while crouching. This will start the combat but not put us inside of it.
And suffer its sting.
So as you can see, the fight started and we're not involved. You got a few different options here. You can just go and blow on the horn out of combat, and you'll keep everyone alive longer to ensure that the fight is a win. You can also join the fight and do the same thing, or even help out from up here, and you're a lot safer. If you can't be bothered to do that, you can just walk straight away, or do both. Doesn't really matter. Then we're going to jump down here to grab this chest. It's not essential, but this chest gives us about 130 gold or so, and in the early game that is quite a lot, allowing us to buy like an invisible potion. This is the bear we're going to give the fish to that I mentioned to earlier, and this will give us a little bit of XP, reaching us to level 2. At level 2 here, we're going to just go grab our Warlock level now, as Hexblade Warlock is one of the most powerful level 1 ability levels you can get. Now, we're going to be using Booming Blade, obviously, as it's an extremely good spell and a new spell, and the Hexblade, giving our weapons scaling with charisma instead of strength or dex or whatever, and obviously charisma is our highest stat. As long as it takes shield, it doesn't really matter what other option you pick there. Shield is a very broken spell. Then we're going to come and save Arabella. Now normally I say you could do whatever here, but Arabella is actually essential for this build that I'm going for. So we need to keep her alive, as we need her in Act 2. Thankfully, because we're playing as a paladin, the dialogue options aren't too hard and we can get away with it pretty easy, only having to pass one dice roll with advantage. While we're here, we'll come speak to Nettie and go through all her yapping. Once she's done talking, we wait for her to leave the room and go into sneak mode and grab the parasite on her bench.
I don't need any attention right now. A knife.
We're then going to see Arabella's parents and they'll give us a little reward. We're just going to sell it straight away, but it's a little something, and a little bit of XP as well. We're then going to put on this helmet that we got from our DLC chest. This is going to allow us to use Disguise Self, breezing us through the early game and getting to places we wouldn't be able to normally, such as this hole here. This leads us to Mole. One of the benefits of saving Arabella his mom will be on your side now, and she'll give you a quest to steal the idol from the Druids.
Don't know what those bastards would have done.
Completing this quest with the idol will give you a ring that gives you +1 AC and +1 saving throws. We'll grab this a bit later. Then we're going to come over here to Rowan and his allies and use the Paladin of Dialogue here to make them stay with the camp. This will ensure all the tieflings will get to last light in.
These lives on my conscience. We need to stay.
Fine. We'll stay.
And then we're going to see Auntie Ethel here and grab this invisible potion from her as well. You can buy the strength potions too if you want a little bit of extra supply there. Then we're just going to go crazy looting all the bodies from the fight outside. Most of the people would have died, so it's just free loot. Then we're going to come grab the silver pendant, but Raphael is going to start yapping to us first, unfortunately. So we're just going to spam through his dialogue.
Then, well met. I am Raphael.
Once we finish his dialogue, we'll be able to loot this skeleton here and grab the silver pendant, allowing us to cast guidance as a cantrip. This is great as we don't have guidance as a paladin, so this just gives us some extra chance on succeeding on dialogue checks. Next, we're going to make our way here to the Blighted village and transform into a drow. This will allow us to succeed every dialogue check here and get a bunch of XP. All this XP will allow us to get to level 3. Before we get to the second dialogue check though, we're going to loot out this whole room here, as there's an antidote we need to get to do a skip later on, and also there's a bunch of healing potions below. Because we're playing as a warlock, we also grab Shovel, as we can use him to start fights without us actually being there. Next we'll go through this mirror here, as you get some XP behind the door as well. If you don't know the answers to these ones, say you're an ally and answer with the following. You have to answer option 2, 7 towers of foul wretched creature, then to clean a wound, and then I'd like to get rid of whatever, get a spell that get rid of the worm in your head. Those 3 options are what you want to pick, otherwise you will have to do a combat encounter there. Read this book for 15 XP, and we just grab the tome here. It's not essential for this build, but we might as well grab it since we're here. We then speak to Shovel, and then once Shovel's gone through his dialogue, if you talk to him after, you'll be able to permanently get him as a summon, as we're playing as a spell shite. I then come grab the Helm of Haste, as it's a good early game item, just have that little bit of extra movement speed if something goes sticky. We're then going to pass this dialogue check just here, and this will give us the XP we need for level 3. Level 3 is also another pretty big power spike for us. We'll grab those fire bombs and grab these shoes downstairs and hit our level up. Now this level up will give us access to our smites. It's just a little bit of extra burst damage early and gives us a fighting style which will choose defense. As we're a solo character, we just want to be as safe as possible. We then go save the counsellor just for some Act 1 XP, and then watch this guy burn to death. It's not my fault I'm the Dark Urge. While we're here, we might as well find the hideout, so we come across these roofs, crouch and jump into the side here. This allows us to sneak past even if we don't get the perception check. Then we'll grab the key in this box and open up the wardrobe. We'll come back here later, but we might as well grab this checkpoint while we're in the area. I come grab the Toll Collector's key, come talk to some Paladins of Tyr, and go into this hatch. This is actually the tax collector's room, and we've solved this puzzle, allowing us access to a bunch of loot that we can sell and just some money in general. We then make our way to the Goblin Camp, disguised as a drow to get through for free. We then sell all our rubbish to one of the traders here, just to get all the money we can. We then go through with more drow checks, and we meet Priestess Gut, who offers to brand us. We agree and get the brand.
As pain muddles your thoughts, your minds become entangled.
She then offers to help us cure the shadows in our head, and invites us to the chapel. Unfortunately, as we are a paladin, we actually have to pass a check. And we do pass the check, which is not what we want. This is fine, it just makes things a little bit techier. So we just have to throw her off the map. Thankfully, with our guidance and strength potion, this is quite easy. This will allow us to get the key to her chambers and allow her to sneak past the goblin, giving us access to the Underdark. Once we're here in the Underdark, we're going to make our way to this room here by opening it and then opening the chest. We didn't break it, we opened it. Then we're going to get the Helmet of Smiting. That's not an amazing helmet, but we might as well use it for now. We'll then snipe these explosive bulbs from up the top here and use a Featherfall potion to jump down, skipping the bullet fight. This also allows us to get to the micro colony very quickly. We then pass the check to get in and meet a gnome in there. We're going to give her the antidote that we picked up earlier. She's going to give us her boots so we can show the Dwagar and get through to the Grymforge. We show him the brand that we got as well, proving that we're part of their squad, and show them the boots. This allows us to be able to use the boat to get over to the Grymforge for free, but we have a few things we're going to quickly do before we head over. We're going to jump over to these rocks here and climb down, and we're going to meet some fishy friends, chanting to some fake god. We offer to kill for them to produce more blood. It is a persuasion check, and it is quite a high persuasion check. So this is actually quite a risky thing to go for. As you can see, I failed, but with an inspiration point, we easily succeeded the next time. He's going to give us a sword to use. We're going to throw that straight in the bin. Straight for the money, that one. And it's going to give us 700 XP. This gives us enough to get to our next level here at level 4. Level 4 doesn't really give us anything too interesting here, so we just skip next. We then use a speed potion here at the Arcane Towers to avoid the actual shooting of them, as they can't see you either, you're invisible. Then we jump down, grab the mushroom, open the door, and disable the Arcane Tower. Then while we're here, we'll grab some Timisk Spores and some Tongue of Madness. This is for a quest later on for an item that we might use, but we don't have to. Then I destroyed these turrets while I'm here for 40 XP each. There's 4 of these, so you get to 160 XP. Then we're going to take the boat and sail across and make our way to the Grymforge. We meet someone on the way there and we tell them that we got the shoes for them, and they let us pass. We meet some bullies here and we stand up to them and they say they're joking. We're then going to talk to these guys here and ally with them. We agree, but only if we get half of the cut. We'll find out later that we're actually going to get the full cut. Just not foreshadowing once again at all.
Fine. Half it is.
We go give Thrin the shoes back, and some gnome puts them on for her. And then do a little pebble toss. And this person wants to also go have a look too. In all jokes though, we end up throwing everyone off here as normal, and then throw a bomb off this ledge here at the chests. These are actually mimics, and for some reason the way that throwing damage works with bombs from high ground, it one-shots them both. Inside this chest here is a pair of arms that gives us +1 AEC. We have no better arms to use at the moment, so we might as well use those. We'll do swap these out later, but they give you some safety. We then come grab the shield mold for some anti-crit, and go invisible and steal this rune powder bomb. This is an insurance policy, you'll never know when you'll need it. Then we're going to come get the heavy splint. As we have heavy armor proficiency, we might as well craft the heavy armor version. Then we need obviously mithril to craft these adamantite things, so we're just going to jump past these guys here so we don't go into combat. Grab the mithril, and then come to the next one. If you're crafting here, the methods won't see you and you can walk past for free to grab this other mithril. Then we're going to put in our mold and our mithril, and then we're going to shoot the level here so we can jump back up top here. One day I'll do this fight normally. We're going to shoot the lever and spawn Grym. Now, Grym, he's a big fan of bludgeoning damage, and thankfully there's a big hammer right in the center of the arena. And he loves cats, loves them. So he chases our illusion cat, and then we squash him with the hammer. We do this on repeat, and it takes about 4 to 5 hammers to eventually kill him. When the methods spawn, we just crouch and walk away and let Grym deal with them. From there, the fight's easy. Once we got that down under wraps, we jump down here and we go grab our armor and helmet from Grym, and then we also make the shield. This is going to give us a little bit of extra AC and give us crit immunity, which is essential for solo. We then take our first long rest, and one of the few long rests we've actually taken this run. We definitely should take a few more, but I am very anti-long rest, and I'll do everything I can not to. We then meet Omulum here, and we're going to give him the Timismas spores and the Tongues of Madness. He'll make us drink a potion. We don't really care about all that. We just care about these shops to get the Boots of Reverberation. I don't use them for this build, but they are a great boot and I just recommend them for most builds. We then make our way to Auntie Ethel and we get past the check here so we can actually see the real place. Doesn't really do all that much, it just allows us not to get surprised when we fight the red caps later. Then we see some gnolls here. We're going to go invisible to walk past them and jump through. We need to steal this package here, as we're not interested in actually doing this fight. So we're going to steal it and then teleport away. We're then going to come back to the Zamanite hideout and meet Sarah. We're going to pass the persuasion check.
Trade with what? But maybe I'll let you buy it back. Damn it.
And we're going to give her the shipment. This is going to allow us to get access to their greater inventory, which has things like the Titan string bow. It's not essential for our build, but we might as well do it, just get the XP, and I grab all their invisible potions. Then I create a work incident where, you know, they're going to get paid out, I promise. HR will talk to them. But there was just a work happen incident, some bombs went off. You can't help these things. Anyway, we loot all the bodies and grab the chest that we just stole back and some extra money. We then come grab Scratch, who I don't actually do correctly because I don't take enough long rest to progress his questline, so it was pretty much useless. But I just wanted to know I had the intention. My second mistake I will reveal later is I bought the Doom Hammer here. Remember that? I now do, you know, the classic lure the Goblin Camp leaders to the edge. Oh no, they fell. Sorry, Minthara. It's a bit cheesy. Then we open this door here to grab some loot from behind, including an Infernal Iron, which is important to know. We're then gonna, you know, spawn another cat here, and everyone just loves the cats. So we're gonna break that one there where Ragzlon is, go invisible, and then that is the Goblin leaders down. This will trigger the Grove quest line, allowing them to leave intact too without getting killed. We're now going to steal the idol by shooting a smoke arrow and taking it. There is zero risk in doing this now once you have saved the Goblin Camp.
You do good work.
And then we're going to give it to Mole. You can steal it earlier, but you have to do a little bit more tech. This gives us the Ring of Protection, which is a ring we'll essentially be using most of the game. It is just a solid ring, and there's not much better for a solo playthrough. I then just walk over here to get level 5, which gives us access to our first feat. Now I'm actually going to choose Actor here to get the proficiency on Persuasion and Deception checks, and it gives me +1 Charisma. So it's pretty good all round.
You are unknown to me, kin.
I'm gonna then transform into a Githyanki and meet these Gith over here and pass the deception check with our new feat. It is very easy for us. Gives us a little bit of extra XP, and then we're going to head our way onto the mountain pass. The mountain pass is going to force us to get the Alfira cutscene. We don't care about Alfira in this run, so it's not the end of the world.
I'm so glad I found. Wait.
She's going to join my party though, so unfortunately for her, that's going to result in...
You stand above a...
Once we're in the mountain pass, we're going to buy this amulet here. This allows us to get full heals off of our potions rather than a random amount. We also grab the invisible potion as well. Then transform into a Githyanki and lockpick this door. Once we go through here, we'll be able to use a Githyanki dialogue option to avoid any dice rolls, giving us XP and access into the crash for free.
Report to our Kithrak within. She may have use for you.
We're then going to buy one item here from this trader, which is just going to be the Defender's Flail. It gives us +1 AC for wielding it, and it's just a good early game item. We're not going to be sticking with it the whole time, don't worry, but it's just good for now.
This you can absorb its potential.
We're going to then open our mind to the parasites
You mind sweat.
and grab Call of the Week and Ability Drain. If you use the Reverberation Boots, this works with that. We're then just going to go, do the normal XP farming around here with all these kobolds here, giving a good amount of XP, and they don't really put up that much of a fight. Here I also take off the automatic smites, as I didn't really think about that until now, as I actually have spell slots again. Make them set as a reaction, so you can always use like a booming blade hit or a normal attack and have the option to. Then we're just going to use an invisible potion and walk straight through here, getting to Act 2. We're then going to grab this torch here and make our way to the last light in. Here's the path if you don't know it.
Just keep your... Come.
Once we're here, we meet Jaheira, who is very friendly and welcoming. And we just sell a bunch of stuff and buy the protection cloak from Quartermaster Tali. We then grab this chest and sell it as it's worth about 400 gold. Then Damon makes us some armor with the Infernal Iron, and we also sell that as well, as it's worth about 1,800 gold, I believe? 1,300 gold. Good chunk. We then come and buy the evasive shoes. They give us +1 AC as well. Then we're going to make our way and actually get the lamp from the Druid up. Because of our actor, feat, and our high charisma, I have zero doubt that we will fail these checks. Once I pass both of these checks here, he drops the lantern and allows me to free the pixie from it. The pixie will then give us a buff to go through the shadow curse without being affected by it. This means we no longer need to hold a torch and we can just use a normal weapon. Then we're going to come grab another piece of Infernal Iron. We need one more to get the item we're looking for, and we meet Arabella.
I know you.
Arabella here is,
Just till you
we're
find
going to offer her some shelter, as she's essential for one of the items that we need to get in a little bit.
Our hero,
We meet Raphael.
new grave they dug,
Again,
which
yap
he
yap yap, we're just going to attack him to skip his dialogue. Too many yappers in this game. We kill some fish as they give a large amount of XP and they don't react to you from when you're shooting them up here. We then meet Malice Thorm, who we can persuade and talk to death, as most of the bosses you can do in Act 1, or Act 2, sorry. With our skills and high charisma, it's quite easy for us to pass these checks, although they can be risky. we need to grab the amulet off the doctor for the Orin fight. If you're unaware of how this works, trust me, later you'll see it makes Orin a complete cakewalk. I then noticed this item in Damon's shop, and I thought this would be a really good item to bridge the gap before we get our next main item. I didn't have enough money for it at the time though, so I'll circle back to that one. I then went and entered a drinking competition and came out the victor, also resulting in my next level up, which gives me extra attack. Nothing else really special here. Then I send majority of my money back to my chest and meet the last Thorm. I haven't even entered Moonrise Towers yet, and I'm about to take out the last one, all by yapping. So we start handing out some gold, but then we say that we're here to replace her, and she wasn't too happy about that. But we told her, don't worry, you've been promoted, when we failed the dice roll, but we had an inspiration point, of course, so we then passed it. This will cause the last Thorm to die, giving us another 1000 XP and a bunch of gold. We now decide to go to Moonrise Towers, but from the bottom, I figured I was already there, so I might as well go this way. And then I invited some people out for a swim. I then threw people from inside the prison down this little hole as well, until I killed everyone including the general. This gave me a bunch of free XP and 0 risk. Once we've done that, I jump up on this little ledge here and then free the gnomes and also the tieflings while I'm here. They then make their way over to the last light in while I continue to go through Moonrise Towers. We grab the Ring of Free Action, as it's one of the best items for a solo playthrough in the game, meaning you can't get held first. Then we kill these goblins, giving us another inspiration point and a bit more XP. We didn't have much else to do at Moonrise Towers, so we made our way over to the Shar Temple. We passed this little puzzle here in order to skip half of the gauntlet and head straight into the main room. I then started the combat from over here so I could see all the portals in a better line of sight. This is kind of our first real combat challenge that we've done the whole game, purely because we've been either avoiding it or we've been able to cheese it in some manner. And as you can see, my damage isn't too good right now as we're using a more defensive setup, as we haven't really been doing any fights, and any fight we do, we just want to make sure we can get through. So destroy all the portals, use the speed potion, and try just damage a few of these enemies. Here's a kind of good time, I suppose, to explain the Booming Blade smite kind of stuff. So when you Booming Blade, if you hit the spell and your smites are set as a reaction, you have the option to then smite after the Booming Blade damage. This results in a crazy amount of damage and a crazy amount of dice rolls, so when you crit, you do a silly amount of damage. I then come over here, invisible, and usually I feel like when I go invisible and the portals despawn, the door opens and Balthazar comes and fights the enemies, but it didn't happen like this for whatever reason. So I put myself in a bit of a sticky situation as my invisible potion ran out. And I had to try and get away from all these enemies, and there's a lot of them, as you can see. So when I'm surrounded here, I just do the only thing I can really think of and jump out and run as far as I can. I had to take a lot of opportunity attacks, but because my AC is very high, none of them hit. I then just ended my turn and prayed. Now thankfully, there's a massive blockage, so people have to go around, including the first big horde in the combat sequence here. Because of that, I could get far enough away that some of the enemies started to despawn from the combat, and once I dashed, I could actually get into flee distance. This, I think, kind of saved me, and it's great all that I escaped, but I have to come back here at some point to solve that issue. But we can come back later for that. Let's go back to Act 1 and start clearing up some of the other stuff we've got. Now I free Nia out of the cave, but because this little rat walked on the fire, it starts the combat and thinks I attacked them. It's been happening a lot in patch 8, I'm not really sure why, but anyway. So, this fight's going to result into a 1v6 at the end of it. However, with our high AC and our gear from Act 2 and our very high damage, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. We hit a crit on this enemy, resulting in us one-shotting him, but he's not a big problem. This is the big problem here, Nia. Well, I would say Nia's a big problem, but he's really not. So as you can see here, I'm actually casting Smite straight up, rather than using Booming Blade and casting as a reaction. I believe that is a big mistake. I wouldn't do that normally. I obviously just wasn't really thinking at the time. Here, I do it again. Again, incorrect, but I do enough damage to kill him. From here, the fight is kind of easy. The only other big threat, I would say, is Blighted. But once we eventually slowly kill him, the rest of the fight becomes quite easy. Once we've killed them all, we get our 1000 gold from Nia, and we head back to Act 2 to come grab some angelic reprieve potions. This gives us our level 1 and level 2 spell slots back without us having to take a long rest. As we only have level 1 and 2 spell slots, this essentially gives us a long rest in the form of a potion. Due to shops resetting every level, and every long rest I suppose, but level, we can just get a lot of these, ensuring we don't have to actually long rest. So let's go grab some buffs. We're going to go grab some extra charisma, intelligence and wisdom from these statues here, +5 for each, but what we really care about is the charisma, giving us extra damage onto our hexed weapon. We did fail this one, but nothing a little inspo can't fix. We then take the dagger and recite the ritual, purely for this angelic reprieve potion, giving us 3 now.
Time to press ahead.
We're going to head back into Act 1 and come grab a few more buffs, but not before we have a quick nap. Once we've got our spell slots back, we start the fight here and do a branding smite. This is so the enemy can't go invisible. I do get a crit though and do most of the enemy's health bar on this first round here, and end up killing him in 1 round. He raises all the dead, so that makes this fight quite easy and go by very quickly. Once we kill them all here, we're going to head back to the Sovereign Spore and tell them the Dweger have been slain. This is going to give us a buff called Bliss Spores, giving us an extra d6 in our attack rolls, ability checks and saving throws. We then come and kill these ogres over here and grab the helmet, or the Band of Intellect, or whatever it's called. This is going to be an item that we'll come back to in Act 3. I then come and kill the red caps and make my way to Ethel. Now we're going to do Ethel here to get the +1 charisma from her hair, and it's going to be a pretty easy fight. I let my invisibility expire. You can always tell which one is her by just hovering over the profile. We then use a speed potion in order to have enough distance to get to her and a lot of actions to almost finish the fight in one phase. Now our damage doesn't seem too high, but with a few crits you can see that our damage spikes dramatically. We need to get her below 30 HP in order to trigger the cutscene. Now she is invisible, but you can always use the trick to ping the profile and they'll tell you exactly where they are. It's a little cheesy, but you might as well do it if you have the option to. So we reveal her and then hit her once with Cold a Week turned off, keep in mind. We don't want to accidentally kill her. Then we're just gonna survive until her next turn. And she'll give us the offer for her hair.
What? A wise choice here. Deals on, girl. Bye-bye, petal.
We obviously choose Charisma. And we take on the spider while we're in Act 1. We shoot the webbits on to make it take full damage. And we just start hitting it, just for some extra damage. And it's going to go and start calling its little eggs, as I didn't have any fire to put all of them out, so I just thought I'd just let it happen. She then walks onto another web, that for whatever reason, so I knock her off that one too, and she takes another 40 damage, and again she walks onto this one. You would think she would learn after the second time, but she doesn't. So I drop her again for some more damage. I then make my way down and face her one-on-one. I don't have to do too much damage here to finish her off. So a simple attack with her smite would finish her if I had Cold of the Week on. But I didn't, so we had to use another attack. With that, the spiders were a piece of cake. Then I just came and finished off the Goblin Camp while I was here. Nothing really exciting happened here, so I'll just save you the pain. Give me enough XP to get our next level up. All this really gave me is Aura Protection, which gives us our Charisma modifier to our saving throws as an aura, which is quite helpful to be honest. Giving us a +7 to our saving throws. Not bad. Since we leveled up, we got some more Angelic Retrieve potions and headed over to the House of Healing. Now here we're going to see two familiar parents, Arabella's parents. We are going to then go tell Arabella that we found her dead, and we're going to be sorry about it. That's very essential, you want to be nice to her. Now, technically, you have to do another long rest before she'll talk to you. So we're not going to get that quite till the very end of Act 2, and I'll show you what I mean by that later. We then pass all the checks here in order to get our Lithid bonuses as bonus actions. We then tell her that the parasite's dead, we felt it, and then we kill her. She shouldn't have asked questions. I then came to the Githyanki Inquisitor and had a quick nap before starting the fight against him. I was quite confident going into this fight, and if you're a avid watcher of this channel, you know that I kinda usually just bomb this area up, as I'm quite scared of these guys. Not today, I decided, nah, that's it, I'm fighting my demons. I'll fight them one-on-one. So that's what I did. We started off with a Booming Blade and then reacted with a Divine Smite 2, and one of the swords spawned on top of us. We did the exact same thing again, not doing as much damage this time, but still a decent chunk. He then walked away, allowing us to get an action in and a smite. He then misty stepped away and used Mind Steel Link, but we saved the throw. I then used a little Void Bulb to pull him off from his little ledge there and went in for a Booming Blade and Divine Smite 2. This killed him. Quite easy. But the rest of the Githyanki are still no joke. I started with the casters as they have the lowest HP and they do psychic damage every round. I then killed the melee one that was next to me, and then eventually killed the ranged one. And with that, the Githyanki were dead. We meet Blighted and give her a polite wave. He seemed to respect that. And then we entered in to the prism to meet our Dream Guardian. The Dream Guardian is going to give us a permanent bless buff until we do our next long rest, which is another D4 to our attack rolls and saving throws. So we might as well come grab this now.
Thank you.
We then take out the rest of the Githyanki camp and come and buy the Charging Bond Warhammer that I've forgot about for a while. This is going to give us an extra 1d6 lightning damage when it's our bound weapon, which is just free damage, right? I was sick of the slow kinda tanky build, and I've done the tanky build so many times, you know it works. So I end up putting this on, which gives us a lot more damage, now doing 11 to 23. But we can make this better. First though, I quickly come and grab all the orbs. I figured I could just do, you know, the persuasion method. So I got him to kill his audience. And then Nesta.
Kill Nessa.
But then I couldn't get him to kill himself. I had no inspiration left, so I was forced to do the one-on-one. I've never really done this fight in solo on a mode before, so I didn't know how it was going to go. He went invisible, so I matched him when invisible until he reappeared, and then it was my turn to try. I used Booming Blade, followed by a normal attack, a speed potion, and another Booming Blade. I then got the Hexblade Curse for free, and he hit me and broke the Shield of Thralls, making him stunned. I then attacked him and missed, attacked him again, and went for another Blooming Blade. This was a good chunk here, and he went invisible and walked away, but because of the Booming Blade damage, he went invisible, he reappeared, and then I got a reaction attack and I killed him with it. So it was actually a very clean fight, but the AI kind of really helped out there. I then grabbed my Umbral Gem, come back as I got another Infernal Iron, and I get the flawed Helldusk hands. Now these hands give us an extra 1d4 damage roll of fire. I then also considered a few other items such as this necklace here. I play around with them a little bit, but I just decide that the health amulet is the best way to go. I then come get the Cr&egrave from Roa at Moonrise Towers, allowing us to infuse our weapon with another 1 to d4 damage type. I just choose Thunder, as Thunder isn't a damage type that is resisted against very often, especially in Act 2. Once we bind our weapon and do all that, we now have a much higher damage rate of 13 to 31. Our high damage is getting quite high, and that's not even including our smites. So we start taking off the Githyanki here now with a speed potion. These guys are tough, but I'm feeling quite confident, and as you can see here, I almost one-phased the whole fight. The main enemy anyway. But it's not the end of the world, as on the second turn here, I just walk up and finish the job. After you kill her, the archers are the main priority, as they can do a lot of damage and they have things like trip shot. But with the leader dead, the rest of the fight isn't too stressful. We just keep booming blading and killing whatever enemies we can, while also trying to prioritize the archers. We loot all these bodies and sell all the items, but here is where I decide to come back and solve this mess. And as I said earlier, we always grab the smoke powder bomb as an insurance policy. Now I still wasn't really sure how this was going to go, as I'm kind of in the range here of this explosion, but I decide I'll just send it. I've got high saving throws, so I should get the reduced damage. And I do, so I live. This doesn't kill all the enemies here, but it damages most of them, or straight out kills them. I then just clean up the rest of the enemies, which wasn't too hard. I then meet Balthazar and his goons. I buy the speed potion off him so he can't use it in the fight, and then we start attacking. This fight again isn't too hard, as we have pretty high damage and decent AC. So we just have to make sure we can stick to Balthazar and don't let him just get away from us for free. We use the teleportation arrow here. And then just use a speed potion so I can actually use some normal attacks against him. I don't do quite enough damage, but on the next turn I can just follow up and hit him with a Thunder Smite, and he dies. I finish off the rest of the fight and I get my next level up here. There's not too much here. I do get extra damage and nearby undead do as well though, which is a kind of a downside as there's a lot of undead enemies in Act 2. However, more damage is more damage, so I start to take on Moonrise Towers. It's important to note that this extra damage goes off whatever damage I'm doing, so if it's a bludgeoning weapon, whatnot. I then clear the top of Moonrise Towers, so when the Ketheric fight comes around, I don't have to fight all the Necromites alongside. I only have to fight Ketheric and his dog. And the dog you can also kill as well, but I completely forgot. Continue on my crusade of killing Moonrise Towers, and then I remembered I'm actually missing one of the buffs. The Radiant Damage buff, which gives us a 1 to d4 Radiant Damage on our weapon attacks. So I'll come back to the crash and solve that little puzzle in order to get that buff. I then come back to Moonrise Towers and finish the job. With that done, Moonrise Towers will be completely safe once we start the end of Act 2. I then make my way back and complete a few trials in order to get the last 2 orbs I need. Starting with the self-damage trial, I just put some bombs down and explode them, grab the gem and come out. And for this one I don't have Misty Step, but I do have Dimension Door, so I just teleport myself in there.
With haste.
Then I just open the door with the key that I found and grab the gem. There is one more buff that I need that I should have got ages ago, and I always forget that this buff is actually here. We want to come back to the Balthazar room and open this door here. In this room there is an Altar of Shar just on the left, and when we pass a check, we get necrotic resistance until our next long rest. And obviously with Merkel he does a lot of necrotic damage, so this is an extremely helpful buff and allows us to save our potion slot for something a bit more beneficial.
A pleasurable shiver.
With my necrotic resistance buff, I decide to take on all the enemies in the Shadow Curse lands that do necrotic damage. We might as well. And then I make my way down to the Shar Temple and unlock the last area. I use a Featherfall potion and then just jump straight on down. This allows you to skip the first Umbral gem, meaning you don't need to do the Walk of Faith trial. Once we're down here, we just insert the other 3 gems that we actually do have, and then this door will open. This allows us to grab the last waypoint, and we can head in. Make sure you don't have your Featherfall condition active if you are ever doing this, as you will lose the Featherfall condition inside this realm, and not allow you to progress down to the bottom.
How about you?
We find the Nightsong and then free her. If I had it my way, I would kill her, but you need to play as Shadowheart in order to kill her. She just makes the Ketheric fight harder. Why does she have such a cool intro, but she's so bad? Like, she actually does nothing 9 times out of 10. We then meet Isabel at the last light inn, and we have to defeat her because we're the Dark Urge in order to get the Orin 1v1. It's just how it has to be. We then finish the fight and kill all the trees. Again, don't tell the Lorac. And this gives us our next level up. This gives us our next feat, which is a big one. And I didn't know really what to choose here, but I think the best option is Savage Attacker. Since we're rolling so many damaged dice, we want to be able to make sure we're doing the most damage, so re-rolling the dice and getting the highest damage seems like a good option. Then we make our way to Moonrise Towers, and obviously because we killed everyone, there is no fight to be had here. Right before Ketheric, I use a Scroll of Fly, just so I can get to him easier, and I use a Oil of Accuracy, as he has a high AC. Even though our damage attack rolls are completely high, I thought I might as well and take no chance. The fight's gonna start, and because of our low dex, we aren't going anywhere near first. But Aylin's there to take some damage for us. That's the best use she has. Then on our turn, we're going to retaliate. I was hoping to be able to one-cycle him, but unfortunately we just quite don't have the damage unless we hit a crit. And he failed. He hit me with his shield and I failed the saving throw. I killed the dog, I'm sorry. And I revived Dame Aylin. Don't ask me why. Something's wrong with me, I think. I then attacked Ketheric, and with a critical hit, it was way more than enough damage to pass him into the next phase, allowing us access into the Mind Flayer colony.
A single tentacle burrowed
With that, we
through
head
stone.
straight through, and we do some things. Right, let's make it quick, because we're about to get to the fun part. I killed Chop and all the brains in here. I then killed some more brains,
Authority.
and then I purged the pods.
Screams, psychic agony, terror, then nothing.
About 1000 XP. And then I killed these guys that apparently knew me as the Dark Urge. Then I killed some more brains, and then I killed some zombies. There's a lot of zombies here. More than I need there. I then solved a puzzle, and also grabbed the Resonant Stone. Now this is an essential item for Act 3 in particular. It gives you and people around you vulnerability to psychic damage, which means you do double damage to them with a psychic weapon. We'll get this with Shadowblade, which we'll get after Ketheric. I then grab my free long rest from this little pod here, refreshing our spell slots, but not getting rid of any of our buffs. And then it's time for Merkle. Now I was actually extremely confident in this Merkle fight. I went to pull out the Doom Hammer, and I didn't have it on me. I left it in camp. So that was good. So we didn't have anti-heal, which is fine. It just means the fight might just take a little bit longer. So I use a Greater Invis and a Potion of Fly, and I hope to try kill the Mind Flayer before I get seen. I can't fail the first check, right? I should have guessed. Now I also don't have Scratch because I didn't take enough long rests in order to regress to him his storyline long enough to get the ball to summon him. So I had two big mistakes from Act 1 that transferred over to this fight here. But don't worry, this fight was still very easy. I have free Aylin on my next turn as I had a surprise round from the turn before, so I didn't feel any pressure to use a speed potion to free her. I get her out of the cage and just start preparing a position so I can fly to Ketheric next turn and start attacking him. I fly over and then we start the assault. I wasn't sure whether to use my Divine Smites now or later, but I figured I'd use them later, and I failed the shield blow attack again. I then hit him again, not using Smite, saving them for Merkle. I took a little bit of time here to decide what I wanted to do, but then I failed the saving throw again. I killed the brain that was next to me, and then attacked Ketheric once more. Actually, no, I think I attack him. No, I do attack Ketheric. Guess what? I failed the saving throw again. I then finish off Ketheric and spawn Merkle. Healing before, as I don't want the aura to stop me from being able to heal.
What a fool you are.
This intro is so sick. now that we're here, I put myself in a bit of precarious position here. I'm out of range of Merkel, so I can't attack him, and because I got frightened, I can't move. So this first turn here became a bit of a waste. I can't really attack, and my ranged attacks don't do enough damage to make a meaningful difference. So I put my auras back on that were turned off, and cast Blur, just to have some extra kind of resistance. I then start going on my attacking spree, using my Divine Smites. I was torn between attacking Merkel straight or trying to clear out some of the Necromites. And as you can see here, I start attacking the Necromites. But I think that's the wrong decision. I think I should just be going straight for Merkel, because I'll never be able to stop the amount of Necromites around. Not being a ranged character. They'll just run up and still heal Merkel. So I think I should just go on straight for face and just try to out damage the healing. And that's what I end up doing eventually. So here on the next turn, I just start going all in, and we get the Hexblade curse on him without actually blade. I'd never used the actual Hexblade bonus action. Like, I used it like 3 times this entire run. I think I should use it more, but I just didn't really think about it at the time. But thankfully we naturally got it. So we get him to about half HP here. So as you can see, I have well enough damage to actually kill him. I drink a healing potion and go next. I should easily be able to win the battle of attrition here, just because my damage is high regardless if I crit or not, and with the amount of actions I can do. With our necrotic damage resistance, Merkel does very little damage with us unless he hits us with his scythe. That's the big damage dealer, but we have a decent AC that it doesn't hit all that much. So we're just going to keep attacking away, using all of our smites. So now we're out of smites, which is a little bit of a bummer, but not the end of the world. I then decide to use a speed potion so I don't miss my next turn. Again, Ketheric's gonna keep trying to attack us, and with this we should be in the damage range here to finish him off. I just look to see if I have any like extra damage buffs there, but he's immune to poison, so I don't. So we do a little smite, a booming blade, sorry. Attack him again, and with our last little attack here, we have enough damage to finish him off. This was one of the more easy, legit Merkels that I've actually done. I feel like I think the extra damage from the smites is just makes it so much easier and allows you to just rush through his health bar. So I looted Ketheric's body, but I was still in the fight with a few Necromites, so I just finished them off, and we can head out of here. So here's what I was talking about before. We're going to go into Act 3, but because we have a cutscene before that has to trigger, we get a free long rest essentially. So we take our long rest here, we get the Slayer form cutscene, which is great, whatever. But now we can talk to Arabella because it's a new day. If we do this, if we go into Act 3 and go like, and I'll go out of camp, we miss this, I believe. I believe you have to get this in Act 2. So Arabella's going to get all angry, and Withers is going to be like training her how to use her powers. At the end, she's going to thank Withers and then say maybe the world's a safe place with you in it. And Arabella's going to give us the Shadowblade ring, allowing us to cast Shadowblade, which is a weapon that does psychic damage. Now it's not as good as just upcasting it as like your own spell, but it's still a good option. Now we're going to start the Githyanki fight. This was a little bit jank, as I didn't have a Misty Step amulet or anything, so I used a teleportation arrow. These are mega underrated. I barely use them, but I used them like 3 or 4 times in this run. It's very good if you don't have any movement options. And then I just walked my way to the portal. And we skipped that first encounter there very easily. Make our way down and join the fight with the Emperor. We just do some quick buffs like a strength potion just to have a better jump distance. Now this fight can be hard, especially because the Emperor is also quite a useless NPC even though he's a very high level. So we have to deal with most of it on our own. It's not too bad. And we end up getting the fight pretty cleanly. We didn't take too much damage and only had to heal a few times. He's going to give us a little worm and we're going to eat it to give us some bonus powers. But most importantly, it allows us to levitate, which essentially just means we can fly without having to use a potion or anything, which is quite helpful for getting to places. But now we're just going to hit the long rest and go into Act 3. Now going into Act 3, this opens up a whole kind of plethora of things that we can do. Obviously there's got a bunch of XP here, and I'm not going to show all the enemies I killed for all the XP and whatnot. There's so many encounters, there's so much XP, so much, it's everywhere. But I will show you the kind of main items and progressions I took. So for the beginning, I just unlocked as much of the map as I could, using fly to get into Wyrm's Rock. We then meet Kordash and then side with him, telling us to go kill Orin and bring back her Netherstone, and then we'll come into a collaboration. I then killed this guard down here to grab her keys.
You witnessed assaulting someone. You're headed.
We grabbed her key to open this door right next to her that we probably could just broke open, and then used 2 lightning arrows on these dragon statues. This allows us to enter through here. There's only one item we're looking for here, and that's the Helm of Balduran. This is an item you don't have to use, but it is much better than the helmet we're wearing right now, as our smites don't really cast any static effects. Here I'll quickly show you the Shadowblade. For the Shadowblade, we can use the ring to cast it, and then take the ring off. We can then use Bind Weapon on it, and gives us extra psychic damage. Our aura also gives us extra psychic damage, as it goes off whatever damage type you're using. We then fail this chess puzzle 3 times, and then quickly go invisible as soon as we fail. This will spawn a bunch of enemies, unlocking the door. I don't understand exactly why this happens, but it does, so it just allows you to skip all this and go into the Unser arena for free. We're just going to make our way straight past him and grab the Helm of Balduran. It really should trigger the fight, grabbing the Helm of Balduran in my opinion, as it's just a extremely good helmet for free. I then make my way to Sorcerer's Sundries to grab a few globes of invulnerabilities. You never know when you'll need them, so I think it's just a really good pickup to grab early, regardless of what playthrough you're kind of playing. Continuing with the Shadowblade, you can actually use things like Draconic Weapon from our Drakethroat Glaive on the item as well. So you see, I drop a Shadowblade onto the floor. I'll select Thunder Damage option, and it infuses the weapon just like normal. So we can still get all these insane damage riders onto our Shadowblade, but because enemies will be vulnerable to psychic damage, it's going to be that much better. We're then going to come through the sewers and talk to this guy here. Passing this dice roll will give us 3000 XP. It's a large amount of XP, and I highly recommend doing this one. It's also an annoying fight, so it's just better to do the dialogue check. We then hit our next level up. At this stage, our level ups aren't doing anything too crazy. This just gives us level 3 spells and level 3 spell slots, giving us some extra smite damage. that's about all we get from this level. The spells are pretty much useless. I don't use them once. I then make my way over to this door here and shoot these corpses. This allows us to unlock Orin's kinda temple, and we're going to go invisible. We just want to walk straight past here because this fight is quite annoying. The enemies are unstoppable, and with only one character you don't have the action economy to effectively dispatch these enemies without it taking forever. We then make our way all the way down to the bottom of the temple here, grabbing the waypoint. We'll come back later for Orin, as we have a few more things we want to pick up, such as the Stony Bony statue for 5,000 gold. We sold things like Ketheric armor, which sells for about 3,000 and things like that, to grab this statue. This gives us bonus bless buff. Next, we're going to come and just kill some enemies here. I want to show you what the Shadowblade kind of looks like in action. So here, I'm going to use Booming Blade on this enemy here who has a decent amount of HP. And as you can see, I pretty much one-shot him, and with the smite, I finish it off. Shadowblade is crazy. It's not any new tech or anything, but Shadowblade is just insane. We're then going to take our oath back up because we're a good boy and we want to go through Act 3 as a pure paladin. I just want to respec. And you have to be your first oath before you can respec. So the only reason why I'm respecing here is I want to change out actor for ability improvement so we can have 20 charisma. Because we're no longer have our buffs from Act 2, it is quite essential to try boost our charisma as high as we can. Getting up to 20 is great. If you want to do the Mirror of Loss and things like that, you could to get like 22. I'll use the helmet from Sorcery Sundries to get 22 like that as well. You very well could, but I think the helmet of Balduron is just a better choice for safety. We're still going to grab Savage Attacker because we still want to have the highest damage roll possible. We're then going to get our last buff kind of thing of Act 3. Now this buff is going to be like Bliss Spores essentially, but just the Act 3 version. For this, we're going to equip the Band of Intellect that I mentioned earlier from Act 1 from the Ogres. This will give us put our intelligence score at 17, which increases our insight check. We're then going to go into this room and find out that it's actually a Mind Flayer, and we're going to kill the Mind Flayer. With the Mind Flayer dead, we're going to talk to the character here, and we're going to pass the insight check. If you fail the insight check, you cannot get the buff. Then just say the first option here, and you will be able to go through the Rapture sequence. You can click whatever kind of options you want as long as you close your eyes and go along with it. This will give you the Rapture buff, giving you a 1d6 to your attack rolls, saving throws, ability checks. I then meet a fan on my way out, so I give him a quick autograph. And then he gave me a hammer for some reason. I didn't question it. I then came to fight Orin, and I made sure that my Luck of the Far Realms reaction was turned on, and I equipped the Surgeon Amulet. This is essential for the trick that we're about to pull off. I turn on my Aura of Protection, and then use a Potion of Vigilance. This will just allow us to have a higher turn order, because we want to try go before Orin if possible. We then start the encounter with Orin.
Your savior approach. The Murder Lord's blessing will be mine once I peel the skin from your carcass.
Big talk. Alright. So, we're going to fly next to her. Then we're just going to attack her. And we have such a high hit rate that it's pretty much impossible to miss. And we're going to make sure we tick the Luck of the Far Realms options and then Paralyzing Crit. This will mean her legendary action won't go off, giving us 100% crit rate, and it's just over like that. We hit a Divine Smite, level 3, and it just one-shots her. With our damage riders and savage attacker, we just do stupid damage and we just one tap her. You can do this with many kind of builds. It's not warlock or paladin essential. I grabbed the netherstone and we technically have everything we need to beat the game. Unfortunately though, I lost my oath for killing Orin and becoming the chosen of Baal. Oh man. Oh well. We're just going to drink a strength potion and throw these guys off the map. They give 400 XP each. Now, I'm not going to go finish the game yet as I want to fulfill the 11-1 stats that the commenter left. We looted this ring of these random dead bodies that definitely were always dead. And get access into the guild. This guild will be able to sell us Terrazol, which is essentially a speed potion without using a bonus action. It's very good and you can stack them and speed potions. We're then going to come grab this spell that allows us to essentially one-shot the dragon at the end of the game. With Levitate we can just fly down here and click this little disc thing that teleports us to the vault. In this chest here, we just open it up and read the spell. This will give us a scroll, so it is a one-time use for us, but don't worry, we only need it once. I then make my way to Khazador's palace and then kill all the vampires in here. They give 400 XP each and they don't really retaliate, and if they do, they are level 1 enemies. I then hit my next level up in here, bridging me over to level 11. This gives us another aura that just makes us not be able to get frightened. Pretty good, but nothing crazy. I then killed this skeleton hiding in the corner in here, and he has a ring that we need in order to open a door. Once we kill him, we grab the ring and then come into this room with all this glowing mist. We want to fly over and read this book in one of the wardrobes. This gives us a keyword alongside the ring that allows us to open the door. The door being this glowing ominous red door that's just sitting there. We open up the door and there's a bunch of wolves, bats, rats in here. They're quite easy to take out, but they give you a bunch of XP. Once we've killed those enemies, we're out and we're going to open up the portal to the House of Hope. Now, this build is very well capable of taking care of the House of Hope and Raphael and whatnot. However, I just could not be bothered, so I didn't end up fighting Raphael. But I am doing this for a reason, I promise. And this is something you should actually do much earlier on in Act 3. And I'll show you why. So, we're going to come in here, meet Hope, she's going to give us an outfit. And I'm coming here to grab this pair of arms from this enemy up here. But there is a benefit that is also in the same room. I meet the Harlop and I go into combat with him. And this fight isn't too hard. Just be careful of not being near an edge if you ever are doing this fight, because the enemy's repelling blast do have a knockback. So I want to loot those arms. These arms are essentially just a better version of the Helldusk arms we have on currently. Now, this is what I was talking about. This fountain here gives you infinite long rest, refreshes all your spell slots, heals you, whatnot. It does all this infinite amount of times, and you can just come and go as you please as long as you don't break your contract or steal any of the Raphael artifacts. So you literally just go in there, take it, take your long rest, and come out. Free long rest. It is a bit annoying going back and forth, but you can do it as many times as you want, refilling all your spell slots, giving you more smites.
The door has red text on it.
I then make my way to the murder tribunal. Now, I'd like to lie and say I'm not doing Raphael, but I'll do something I haven't showed up on the channel before. I'll do Seravok. Unfortunately, I did not know that this is how this sequence went. Because I didn't come here earlier and I've already killed Orin, I'm forced to fight him, I think. Unless I clicked a random dialogue option. I'm not sure. But from what I could tell, I had to fight him from all my dialogue options.
I thank you for killing
so we fight. I've never done this fight on honor mode before. I've done it in like balanced or tactician, but never on honor mode. And it was a very long time ago. So I started killing their like little echo things, not realizing that they gave Ceravok buffs. Like this one gave him permanent mirror's image, which was a bit annoying, but I have to deal with that now. So even with all my buffs, my hit rate is quite low, but that is what it is. I also didn't have many smites, so I contemplated dipping out and coming back, but I decided no, I've put myself here. If the run ends here, it ends here. So I just killed that one because he was giving Ceravok warding bond, which was not allowing me to be vulnerable to my psychic damage. Once he hit me there as a retaliation, he got Deathbringer's Legacy, which means he lost all these buffs, but he can now do a very devastating attack, which could very easily one-shot me if it hits. So I was not looking forward to that, so I decided I have to end the fight now. So I attacked, and I got a lucky crit, and I used a Terrazol to get another attack. If this attack missed, I'd be cooked, but thankfully I got a pretty high hit rate, and I hit it. The safe option there was go invisible and reset, but I decided, nah, I'm going all out. So I finished the fight, and that was Ceravok. It was actually surprisingly easy, because he didn't get his legendary action off. I think if he got his legendary action off, I could have been in a bit of trouble. Then some man was outside, you know, so I quickly dispatched of him too. Now, with that done, I decided it was time to finish the game. I did a few more things to grab some XP, and I wasn't quite getting max level, but I knew there's a few enemies just before that are easy to kill and free that will push me over the boundary to level 12. So I hopped on the boat and made my way to the Morphic Pool.
Silence.
These brains are the ones that are going to give me the XP. They either blow up on top of you, or you one-shot them, and that gave me enough XP. Now they do quite a lot of damage when they explode, so I went invisible and ran away after I got all the XP I needed, as I didn't want to lose my run to Intellect Devourers exploding on me. Now level 11 Paladin gives us improved Divine Smite, which just acts as a smite on every attack for free. Now we make our way to the Netherbrain. I unfortunately don't get the D20 check here, so the Emperor comes and saves me, and I won't get that extra free damage.
This is not over.
To thank the Emperor for saving us, I attack him. I had him, I promised I was going to get the Netherbrain, and he ruined it.
Do not seek me again. We are done.
I then go free Orpheus, and I make him turn into a Mind Flayer. Hey, game's the game, buddy. I did all the hard work. You can turn into a Mind Flayer. We make our way out and go invisible. This allows us to walk past all the enemies here without having to go into combat. This fight is quite difficult, so it's just easy to skip. Then the Nautiloid's going to show up, and we're just going to leave turn-based mode and go in as Orpheus, as he has a better fly. Once we're here, we got to do a few little buffs before we enter in the Netherbrain fight. First of all, we give Elixir of Vigilance to Orpheus so he can ensure to go first. I use a Potion of Colossus because I had nothing else to use on my main character, and then use Fear Paralysis Stakes on Orpheus. You want to spam this as much as you can, trying to get to about 7 and 8. When you go into turn-based mode, you can use an action and bonus action for an extra 2 casts of these. exit out, and then start spamming again. And then you want to enter turn-based mode before you enter the stem. This just gives you some extra time and doesn't allow for the stacks to wear off. Alright, this fight is pretty much textbook. Until you get to the Elder Brain, then it's a bit whatever. We're going to use 2 more casts of Fearless Stakes. Normally I have about 7, but this time I actually have 8. Which is great, I suppose, some extra damage, but 7 is fine. We're then going to throw a speed potion on myself and Orpheus, so we can both have an extra action. Then Orpheus is going to cast the scroll that we picked up earlier on both the dragon and the emperor. Now, I was trying to do the math here, and I did a 4-2 split. The 2 would definitely kill the emperor, and the 4 would only kill the dragon if I got very lucky. Spoiler, I didn't get lucky. I think if I went closer with my main character, I could have given the debuff of psychic damage and I could have easily one-shot it. But whatever. I just used an arrow and finished it off with my main character. Now I ended the turn and I get Orpheus to use a psionic backlash, as that works with the stacks. Then these Illithid are too out of range to target us. I then got Orpheus to go clean up all the enemies with these stacks up the top here. Using Black Hole to finish the last 2. Then I used a Dome of Invulnerability to ensure that the crown didn't kill us during our turns. I then got Orpheus to start channeling the crown ability while we healed up the rest of my team. And even though I went lethargic, because it was Orpheus' turn first before my main character, the next cutscene still triggered. This is fine, but I did lose a turn technically. But I think I've proven I don't need too many turns to do a lot of damage. So the first turn's going to trigger, which means we're going to have a few Orbs of Negation already placed before our main character has even entered in through the portal. We're going to get Orpheus to fly down and trigger the brain's reaction while our main character isn't in the area. I just use a Concentrate Blast, as psychic damage will get turned off next turn anyway if it goes there. I then bring in my main character and get him to fly down there next to the brain, melee range. We then do the same thing we do in the whole game and use Booming Blade. We're might as well use like the Fire Realms here and use the highest level smite doing half his HP in one attack. I then do another attack with another level 3 smite. And as you can see, we're getting close, but not quite there. So I use my last speed potion. Go for another attack with another Divine Smite. And use a Terrazil. Now I still had a backup there with Orpheus. He could finish the job if need be. But it was enough damage to finish it off. And that is honor mode with the character that my viewers suggested. An 11 Paladin, 1 Hexblade Warlock. And I'm not even joking when I say this. This was my first attempt. I usually try to plan it out and have a few attempts or whatnot. This was my first go. I just went in blind. I didn't really think about it. And I was coming up with the strats as I was going. And when I thought about the Shadowblade ring, the build all kind of clicked together. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little bit different just because I didn't really have this planned out. And I was kind of adapting to the run as I went. Which is unusual for most of my builds. I usually have a set kind of idea at the time. But I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you would like to see next. I'm planning to do one of these viewer kind of things. Try to do one a month or so at least. I also have a fun idea that I've been working on. I'm still working on the details and the rules and stuff, but I think it's going to be a really fun challenge mode kind of thing. So keep an eye out. That will probably be my next one. But yep, hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.